let you know about Operation Clean Sweep, which is an operation that we conducted from Tuesday, August the 23rd through Thursday, August the 25th. It involved local, state, and federal law enforcement officials making surprise visits to almost every registered sex offender in Benton County. In this operation, officers made contact with 266 registered sex offenders to ensure they were in compliance. As a result of these visits, 44 of these people have been arrested, and I know Sheriff Holloway will go through the various charges and things that we did. And I also want to thank Sheriff Holloway for hosting us here, for setting up mobile command centers to make all this possible. And in particular, clearly we couldn't have done this without the support of all the different law enforcement agencies that were involved, and you'll have a list of all those. Two folks I do want to mention that really did a huge lion's share of the work on the ground. One is Senior Deputy Prosecutor Josh Robinson behind me, as well as Deputy United States Marshal Dustin Chastain, who really did boots on the ground work during this operation. I want to talk briefly before the sheriff speaks, and I'll have Deputy Robinson speak as well. I want to talk a little bit about why did we do this? What is the purpose of us doing this? Public safety is the #1 responsibility of government. In Benton County, there are approximately 500 registered sex offenders, so that's going to be a concern for us in Benton County. Operation Clean Sweep is a message that in this community we're not simply going to assume that these people are doing what they should be doing, that they are in compliance, that everything they do is fine. We're not going to make that assumption. And from this operation, my hope is that registered sex offenders living here should expect more random checks, more contact with law enforcement, and more folks checking up on them, even more than we've been able to do in the past. And law enforcement has always done a good job on this, but as we grow as a community, it's something we're going to put increased emphasis on. Quite simply, Benton County will not be a hospitable place for registered sex offenders to live, particularly if they are not in compliance. And so we see from this that for those who break the law, they should expect arrest and prosecution, and that's what we've seen here, and I know Sheriff Holloway will talk about the various charges. I just want to say that I am grateful to our law enforcement partners on a local, state, and federal level. I know the FBI was involved, Homeland Security, Probation and Parole, the state police, virtually every local police department. And it's so important for us to have this kind of cooperation so that we can keep our children and our community safe. And so I think at the end what we'll do is take any questions that you have, and for now I'll just turn it over to Sheriff Holloway and let him say a few words.
Thank you, guys. First of all, you know, these type of operations have in cooperation between all our local law enforcement, state and federal. This was a fine example of how we can all work together, and we do it very well, including the agencies, including Benton County Sheriff's Office and the United States Marshals. We also have the Bentonville, Rogers, Pea Ridge, Bella Vista, Centerton, Gentry, Decatur, Siloam Springs, Springdale, and Baxter County Sheriff's Office who assisted in that. In addition to that, we had state police, we had probation and parole, the FBI, and of course HSI. So it was a big operation, and it took everyone to pull it together, and they did a really good job of getting out and making sure that these individuals are doing what they were ordered to by law and to keep our community safe. And I just thank everybody who was involved with that. During that, we had 26 devices that were seized that will have warrants ran on those for various different things, 8 firearms. Charges included failure to register noncompliance, felon in possession, and possession of drugs. It was a very successful operation, and we will plan on doing these in the future to keep our community safe.
And now I'm going to ask Senior Deputy Prosecutor Josh Robinson to speak a little bit about the planning for this, the cooperation that was required to do this. I know he was heavily involved in that, so I'm going to let him talk.
Thanks. So whenever I went and talked to Nathan about doing this months ago, he was very supportive, and I didn't have any idea about how to actually make it happen. It's just something that I thought would be good for us to do. So I reached out to Dustin Chastain from the United States Marshal Service, and he helped me come together. Also spoke to Miss Dean from Probation and Parole with really invaluable information about how to make an operation work, because I didn't have any experience doing that. I was kind of there to answer legal questions. But we had multiple meetings with law enforcement from across the county at the Rogers Police Department where we talked about what we were going to do and how and when. And then Dustin and I spent probably hours on the phone talking and texting and planning. And the work that everybody did from every law enforcement agency was pretty incredible. We had a great turnout. Over 100 officers showed up to assist from local, state, and federal level. Everybody cooperated, and it was a great success. And so it was a great thing for me to experience. But everybody's participation and everybody coming in and cooperating and working together with one goal is what made it successful.